Greetings, TheWarOwl greets you, and welcome to How to Play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This time, we're going to be covering armor, what it is, how it works, and when to purchase it. Many of you folks have asked questions about armor, and I've painfully witnessed many Silver League players refuse to purchase it in the Matchmaking Academy. So let's set the record straight. Armor in Counter-Strike is incredibly important. In the casual mode of the game, every single player spawns with armor, but in competitive, you need to purchase it. This is why you see many poor defenseless noobs refuse to purchase it. But seriously, you need it. Quite simply, armor absorbs a percentage of damage taken. It calculates how much damage it absorbs by the armor penetration stat of the weapon you were shot with. So a weapon like the PP Bazone, which has very low armor penetration, it'll hardly do any damage against folks who have purchased armor. Weapons that have low armor penetration should only be used when you know that the enemy does not have armor. Because of the new metagame of purchasing armor second round, I suggest avoid using these weapons except on the first round and when you know that the enemy is eco. They are the P2000, the USPS, the Glock, the Dual Berettas, the PP Bazone, the MAC-10, the MP9, the MP7, the UMP-45, the Nova, and the Fragmentation Grenade. Fun fact! The SG-553 has 100% armor penetration. Fun fact number 2! The Incendiary Grenade has less armor penetration than the Molotov. You can purchase armor from the equipment menu in two different ways. The first is just purchasing chest armor for $650. The second is purchasing chest armor with a helmet for $1,000. It's pricey, but completely worth it, as purchasing the helmet will allow the armor to absorb damage from headshots, instead of just the body, chest, and arms. Here's a fun fact, the legs are not actually protected by armor. In the first round of the game, you can only purchase chest armor, but it is very useful since the starting weapons have very low armor penetration. Also, armor protects you from grenades by quite a bit. Because you can't purchase helmet on the first round, going for headshots with the starting pistols is very important. You can easily get one-hit headshot kills with the Glock and the P2000 at medium and close distances. Some players will not purchase armor on the first round because they need to purchase nades in order to execute some kind of a strategy, or to purchase a defusal kit if on the CT side. Quick tip, I recommend one player on CT side always purchase a kit on the first round. Armor is also very important for avoiding aim punch. When you don't have armor and you get hit, your aim is going to get messed up. It'll fly up into the air. It makes it very difficult to shoot without armor. So even if you purchase something like an AK-47 or an M4 and you don't purchase armor, if you get hit, it's going to make it so difficult for you to shoot the guy because your aim will fly up into the sky. So second round, should you purchase armor? If you win the first round, the answer is 100% yes. On a buy round, always buy armor if you don't already have it and it makes economical sense. On second round, you will need to rebuy it so that you can get your helmet. This is pricey, but worth it, because your enemy will be using cheap weapons that don't do very much damage. Meaning, if you don't have a helmet, you could get one shot by them with a starting pistol. That's embarrassing. And if you do have a helmet, you can take multiple shots to the head and survive. You can see how big of an advantage this is. If you lose the first round, the answer is sometimes. Your team could call an armor pistol round, which means you purchase armor and a helmet and pistols and try to win the second round after a loss. It is very effective at the higher level of competitive play. And if you get a bomb plant on the first round as terrorists, you will be able to buy fully on third round because of the extra reward money, so it makes sense to not do an armor pistol round. If you are on CT side and you do an armor pistol second round, you will still be able to buy on fourth round, so it makes sense and it's worth the risk. Very basically, if a team is buying, then buy armor. Armor greatly improves your chances of winning a round, but it is very expensive, so it is a risky thing to do. But when should you purchase the helmet? The $350 difference between the helmet and the regular armor is a big deal. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to purchase a helmet. The best example of this is when playing on the CT side. If the terrorists are ahead economically, they will have AK-47s and AWPs. These are both one-hit headshots even if you have Kevlar. So why would you spend the extra money if you need that money for a defusal kit or nades? Or sometimes it makes sense to get that defusal kit, that nade, or that M4 instead of buying a FAMAS and to not purchase that head armor. The next very common question is, when should you repurchase armor? This question relies upon many different factors: your team's current economical state, the economical state of your opponents, and the maximum amount of armor needed to be effective against what your opponent buys. There are very specific values to this, but a good, simple rule of thumb is, if you think your opponents are buying, purchase armor if you are below 20 armor. If you think your opponents are saving, purchase armor if you are below 60 armor. The reason for the difference is, weapons that do less armor penetration, which are the weapons you're going to be using on the eco rounds, will have more damage absorbed by the armor. Keep in mind, the number of armor you have is reduced by half the amount of damage the armor absorbs, and armor will absorb damage if you have any armor. So if you have 100 health and 100 armor, and the enemy does 100 damage to you, and the weapon has 50% armor penetration, the armor will absorb 50 damage, so your health will go down by 50, and your armor will go down by 25, leaving you with 50 health and 75 armor. There are no good numbers for this because weapons can do variable amounts of damage, and you don't know what your enemy will be using, which is why just using that good rule of thumb that I mentioned earlier is a good idea. But again, most of the time, if your money is a bit tight, getting a better weapon, a defusal kit, or nades may be a better choice than rebuying your armor for that one fringe case where someone's going to get you down to 1 health with a Glock. This is something you have to think about at the start of every round. It's something you have to talk about with your teammates. It's really something specific to the current state of the game. The economical, tactical, strategic buying decision-making process is one of the great features of Counter-Strike that separates it from simple, casual games like Call of Duty. Armor is a huge part of this, so next time you look at the buy menu, think, communicate with your teammates, and make the right decision when it comes to your armor. Practice safe counter-striking. Purchase protection. It's only $1,000, and it can save your life. I'm TheWarOwl, and I still have no closer.